Hello and welcome to the Daily Millwall for Friday the 14th of 2022. Today's Millwall news, we've got a couple of interviews from players, then we're going to preview tomorrow's Bristol City game, which is well attended by Millwall fans. So we're going to start off with this from londonnewsonline.co.uk. Millwall midfielder admits boss made right call to take him out of the team and why there shouldn't be a stigma to being taken off under the new sub rule. Billy Mitchell has become a midfield mainstay for Millwall, but the All Action Academy product admits Garraw's decision to drop him earlier this season was the right call. The 21-year-old had made 37 successive championship starts for the Lions before he was subbed off in the 70th minute for the 2-0 loss to Norwich in August. Mitchell did not get on in the next match, a 1-0 then reversed to Reading, before a brief cameo at Burnley. Since then, he has been back in the starting 11 for the last 5 fixtures and was typically industrious in Saturday's 2-0 victory over Middlesbrough. I was really disappointed to come out of the side, but it was the right decision, Mitchell told the South London Press. I would probably admit that, as much as I was doing okay, I was probably hovering at around 70 to 75% of what I was capable of at the beginning of the season. I was getting through games, but not affecting them in any way I wanted to, or in the way I was at the end of last season. We went on to lose both games against Reading and Burnley, but still, it's kind of shook me up that you can never get too comfortable. You have your shirt and go and keep it. There is no worse feeling than having to put your kit on, and then having to do the running post-match. I knew I really had to make use of the time in training before the next game, and if I do go back in, then really try and prove a point. That hopefully now is going to stick with me until the end of the season, because I'd much rather not come out again. It did make me realise you have a role to do in the team even when you're not in it. I learned that from Alex Pearce. It's just as important to get behind the lads and make sure everyone is on it. It's quite easy to sulk. The rule change allowing 5 substitutes this season also adds an extra tactical layer, especially with Millwall's injuries having all but cleared up. Sometimes physically you don't realise it. You get in the mode of game after game that you don't realise when you're burnt out a little bit, said Mitchell, who has played 84 first team matches for his boyhood club. You get a little bit stale, sometimes coming out as needed, and that's what the squad's there for. There's a little bit of a stigma that if you come off it means you've had a bad game, but I've never heard the manager really phrase it like that. He's always said that you go out and you work your absolute nuts off, and if you're finished by 60 minutes, then we've got people who can come on and change the game. That's a completely different perspective. You go, okay, I will run myself into the ground, and if I've got absolutely nothing left to give, I can come off, knowing that I've had a good day's work. Rather than protecting yourself and trying to last 90 minutes because you're afraid of getting taken off. Mitchell earned praise from Rowett for taking matches by the scruff of the neck, but the experienced manager reckons the next challenge is producing more forward passing. Mitchell has done some extra work at the club's Calmont Road training ground with first team coach Paul Robinson. I've certainly put in a couple of extra hours working with poles, mannequins and short-sided goals to try and improve playing forward, said Mitchell, who joined the Lions at under 15. The gaffer said to me that where I can influence games might not necessarily be goals and assists directly, but working from slightly deeper positions, setting up attacks, using my engine to win the ball back and then break forward, giving the forwards a little bit of service. I've worked really hard with Robbo on getting on the half turn and trying to play forward quickly. We kind of accepted that when we take more risks or play more daring passes, it's just natural that your possession stats will decrease, but ultimately, that's fine. I know our beginning to the season hasn't shown this, but in general, we're pretty solid defensively. Where we struggle is creating as many chances and scoring as many goals as we need to. Realistically, if we're trying to force a little bit further up the pitch, it isn't going to negatively affect us. On the off chance that something does come off, we've got everything to gain. Millwall have taken 7 points from a possible 12 to boost spirits. If they can recall the first away win of the season at Bristol Citys tomorrow, the South Londoners could move within striking distance of the top 6. Mitchell has revealed that there was a frank discussion between the players and the staff after the 2 undefeated Blackburn at the start of this month. Interesting. And what happened after that? We changed the formation against Rotherham, did we not? We kind of said enough is enough now. We're better than this. We need to demand more from each other as a group. Forget about the attacking part first, but defensively, we need to stop conceding 2 goals. We always seem to find a consolation goal, but once you're 2-0 down, that's a tough position to come back and draw, let alone win. Let's just start by getting everyone solid, refusing to concede goals, and really going back to basics. The last couple of games we've done that better. Adding Flemo's bit of quality, 3 goals in the last 2 games, that's what wins it for you. Rowett has switched away from a 5-man defence to a back 4 since that reverse at Ewood Park. The Lions chief has claimed that his old formation could have been just as effective if it was executed correctly. I agree with him, said Mitchell, who made his debut at Wigan in May 2019. I had this conversation with George Honeyman the other day. With enough grit and hard work, you can make any formation work. But sometimes it can just be as little. It can be as little as a psychological thing. You think changing formation will help, and it does, a bit like a placebo effect. That is a good point. Sometimes we mixed it up and we had 3 midfielders and 2 strikers in 5. Sometimes we had 2 midfielders and 3 strikers. I do like 4-3-3. It gives you more forward options. You've got one number 10 always in the pocket and looking to make the box. You've got 3 attacking players. And then you've got the fullback joining in, whatever side the ball's down. The only thing I've had to adjust is tracking runners a little bit more. In a 5, it's easier to sit in shape and pass runners onto the back 5. Whereas now, most teams have at least 2 strikers occupying the centre backs, which means if there are midfield runners, you really have to do your job. It's worked in the last 2 games so far, so good. Exactly what I was saying. You defend higher up the pitch. He's saying it here. When there's 5 at the back, he lets the players go past him. He lets the opposition go past him. Because there's 5 defenders at the back. He's just admitted it there. It's important not to get too down or too excited. It's a really long season. We were looking at West Brom on Monday and thinking that as poor a start as they've had in terms of only winning 1 game, they put together a run, then I'm pretty sure Forest were in a similar position and ended up making the playoffs. You've got to keep level-headed. If we can keep ourselves in a good position by Christmas, then that will help, because Millwall have always put together good runs at the back end of the season. So there's Billy Mitchell now. So interesting now. So we've got some more stuff coming out of here. So he's saying they had basically a discussion after the Blackburn game. Did he say it was in the dressing room after the game? Or was it after that game? Where is that? There was a frank discussion between players and staff after the 2-1. So could have been in the dressing room, or it could have been like training the next day in. So, and then what happened? They changed the formation for the Rotherham game. So maybe it was the players who said, "No, this is fucking shit. Stop playing like this." So you've got the fans who don't like it, and now you've got the players that don't like it. But apparently, Mitchell said he agrees with him. He thinks 5-man defence is good. So we've got Hutchinson, who's come out and said he likes the formation change. Basically, I think he said that roughly. It was in the video the other day. He was the first player that would come out and heard him speak on the formation change. We've now got Billy Mitchell speaking about it. He's saying he agrees with Rowett's assertion that it's not, the formation doesn't really matter. It's about how the players who work and make it, they can make it work if they work hard enough. Like, cross your fingers and hope for the best. Like, kind of, there's a word for it which I can't think of right now, but it's constructivism. If you believe it, it should come true. It's like wishful thinking. It's like, oh, if we can do it, if we believe in it hard enough. Like, yeah, but reality is not fucking happening, is it? Like, wipe the shit out of your eyes, stop fucking daydreaming, and look at what's happening on the pitch. It's alright about fucking wishing and dreaming, and crossing your fingers and rubbing your lucky rabbit's foot, and fucking horseshoe and all that shit. What's really happening? Let's get real. Formation was shit. You've changed the formation. Now the performances are better, results are better. Wow, who knew? Only all the fans have been moaning about it for the best part of 2 years, and now it seems the players had a word as well. And then Rowett's suddenly changed the formation because he didn't want to lose the dressing room. Because they were rumbling and mumbling and stumbling and wasn't looking good for him. You certainly don't want to get fired from a job like this, especially if the players turn on you and they go to Kavanagh or Berylson and say, this guy's fucking clueless, get him out of it. So that's interesting. Yeah, apart from that, Billy Mitchell there, ladies and gentlemen. Now we've got another interview. Funny enough though, isn't it interesting that now the results have turned and we're starting to play a bit better. It seems, maybe it's just me, but it seems you've got all the players wanting to speak to the media now, wanting to get in the papers and have a conversation. We had Murray Wallace the other day. We've got Billy Mitchell. We've got Tom Bradshaw here now. Can't shut them up. Millwall striker Tom Bradshaw, confident goal run is coming and closing in the championship career milestone. Goal run for who, mate? Because you're having a bit of a problem at the moment. Tom Bradshaw has not had any luck in front of goal this season, but the Millwall striker is confident that is about to change. Middlesbrough keeper Zach Stefan instinctively denied him at the weekend when the Lions attacker followed up on Andreas Vogelsammer's parried effort. And Bradshaw also went close twice in a 1-1 draw at Rotherham United last week. It's just football, especially life as a striker, the Lions number 9 told the South London Press. Last season, everything I was touching was going in. This season, for whatever reason, it hasn't quite happened. In the first game of the season, I had a goal disallowed because Billy Mitchell was judged to be offside. At Rotherham, I took a step just too early for a header, which meant it was slightly behind me, and I had to adjust. Then I saw Zion was lining up a shot. The number 1 rule for attackers is to shoot across the goal, because if you do scuff it, then there's half a chance that someone will be able to put it in. I gambled that I would scuff it, but I gambled half a second too late and couldn't quite get the connection I wanted on it. Against Borough, I just tried to connect well because the ball was bouncing towards me and I wanted to go across the keeper. Because I thought he was going to try and cover it on his front post. Instead, just my luck, he stuck a leg out and managed to get a good contact on it. I spoke to Benick about it and he said if I scuffed it, don't catch it as cleanly, then it goes in. But it's really positive that these chances are coming up. In my head, it's only a matter of time. I'm staying positive. The time to worry is when you're not making chances and just fizzling out of games. I don't feel that's the case. I'm confident and I feel like I'm playing well. Bradshaw is only 3 matches away from 200 championship appearances. He could hit the landmark when West Brom and former Den favourite Jed Wallace head to SE16 next weekend. I'm quite good on my stats, mainly on goals, but I didn't know that, said Bradshaw. I started in League 2 and worked my way up to League 1. All along the way you have fans at clubs who say he should be here, or I don't know if he's good enough for Championship. To get close to 200 is a great achievement. I'm just enjoying my football. Bristol City at Ashton Gate is next for the Lions, and Bradshaw has scored in his last 2 visits there, most notably the 2-0 win in December 2020, which saw John Danny Bodvarsson play a rare blinder. Bradshaw also netted the final goal on May's 4-1 home victory against Nigel Pearson's team. Even if he doesn't manage to open his account, the former Walsall and Barnsley player will help the Lions be a nuisance right from the front. I always try and bring high energy and a high press alongside goal scoring, and that can play to your advantage if a manager trusts you on the defensive side of the game, said Bradshaw. Those high energy runs in the channels can be a real string to your bow, and it's something I've worked really hard on the last 5 years. Players have different strengths and weaknesses, and you need to balance throughout the squad to be successful. We hadn't played 4-2-3-1 for a good while, but then we've looked really defensively solid against Rotherham and Middlesbrough and been more threatening, having 4 attackers on the field, not just counter-attacking. The stats don't lie. Rotherham was a tricky fixture, and Middlesbrough is still a really strong outfit, even if they aren't having a great season. So to get 4 points out of 6 is a really good sign indeed. So that suggests to me another tick from the player, Tom Bradshaw, about the formation change, does it not? Yes. Funnily enough, he's saying how it's only a matter of time Maybe he did this interview because he's trying to preempt himself being dropped. As if there is a clamouring that you can't keep having these chances and missing them. You need to score at least one of all these chances you're having. Now, like they said there in that story, like he scored against Bristol City last 2 times out. Don't know if that'll help him, if Rowett will keep him in for that. Maybe he'll give him another go. If he's not doing it, like pull him off early, pull him off at half time. Why not? But I don't know. Maybe you'll start him. Maybe you won't. Maybe they'll play with Vogelsam. There's some talk that Mason Bennett might play out there. We don't know. Maybe even Bennett Kofobi going back to Bristol City after all they've done for him. So might be good for him to get an appearance, although not really the kind of thing you want to play against them and play well. And like Bennett scores a hat trick, I'm sure they're still gonna like him and have affection for him, but probably not gonna like if Bennett scores a hat trick against them, because they are still Bristol City fans and they still want to win. So we've heard from Billy Mitchell, we've heard from Tom Bradshaw, and we're now going to hear from Gary Rowett. This is from SuffolkNews.co.uk. Gary Rowett reacts as Millwall's upcoming opponents pick up morale boosting win. Bristol City ended their 5-match winless run by beating Preston North End in midweek. Yes, Bristol City and Preston North End played on Wednesday, I believe it was. The only championship, I think it was a rearranged game, probably from the Queen's Funeral, I'm not too sure. It was the only championship game of the midweek, I believe. But does that mean anything? Preston North End are a weird outfit. They have some weird stats. They haven't conceded a lot of goals. But they've been winning games like 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 0-0, 0-0. And then they started going a bit weird at the end now. So yeah, Bristol City secured a crucial win on Wednesday evening as they beat Preston North End 2-1 at Ashton Gate. The Robins picked up all 3 points thanks to Rob Atkinson's brace, with his eventual winner coming in the 90th minute to end their poor run of form. Now, Rob Atkinson, if you don't know, apparently he's like a defender, so he's their Cresswell, it seems. It sets up Nigel Pearson's side to build on their positive performance, although Millwall will be hoping to do the same thing after their victory against Middlesbrough last weekend. Manager Gary Rowett doesn't believe that their upcoming opponents will be affected by having to play midweek, instead claiming they'll receive a significant confidence boost ahead of hosting the Lions on Saturday. If you have a Wednesday night game and you've just been away from home, maybe you've just been beaten and you have a long journey back, it's not a nice place to be, he told the news. When you played at home, you have no travelling, you've won a game, get yourself out of that little dip of results, and you've won it in the 90th minute. There's probably no better way to do it. I'm sure they'll be very, very positive. I'm sure that playing Wednesday night and the fatigue element, that will be less of a factor having won the game, having won it in the way that they did at home. I don't see it really being an issue. I don't see anything that we can necessarily take massive advantage over, other than the fact that we've got to go there and play a little bit of zip and freshness to see if we can cause them problems, just like we did to Rotherham and Middlesbrough. Like I said, there has to be elements of your performance that you need to have in your team to win games away from home. We'll be looking to make sure we've got them ready for Saturday. Well, I would say Gary Rowett. I think fatigue will be a factor, but like you said, probably not at the start of the game. I'd imagine from the 60th minute onwards, if there aren't significant changes to the starting line at Bristol City, fatigue may be a factor that comes into play. So your substitutions and when you do them and how you do them will probably be quite important tomorrow. But there you go. Also from Gary Rowett, we've got this. Also from Southern News. We've got to start stepping up for the fans. Millwall boss aims to give travelling supporters an away day to remember. The Lions have picked up just 2 points on the road so far this season. Yes, we've got a stinking record, and it's not just this season. We have failed to win in our last 12 away matches. Failed to win. So we've got draws, but we haven't won a game in 12 away matches. So that stretches to last season. Millwall are set to bring 1,100 supporters to Ashton Gate for Saturday's match against Bristol City. In fact, it is 1,189 Millwall fans making the trip to Ashton Gate. Fantastic stuff. Surprisingly, this is one of our the shortest away journeys this season in a very northern league. It comes after a nightmarish start to the season where fans have had to travel considerable distances at inconvenient times to see their team play. The Lions have already faced midweek games against Swansea City, Burnley and Rotherham United, with the likes of Sheffield United and Blackburn Rovers also ticked off early into the campaign. Their upcoming trip to BS3 is comparatively short, although it does require a 250-mile round trip on the road or an hour and a half on the train from London Paddington. Rowett has regularly praised supporters for making such lengthy trips during the cost of living crisis and was delighted to hear that such a large number would be heading down to Bristol for their upcoming match. He now believes it's time to deliver an away performance to remember, with Millwall winless on the road since the start of March. It's fantastic, he told News at Den. If you look at our home fans, they've had a lot of wins to celebrate and be part of, and they've certainly played their part at home. As we know, fans at the Den have a great impact on the team's performance. Away from home, they've not had so much to cheer about, so the fact that they're still going in numbers, I think it's brilliant. What it means is there's a huge responsibility on myself and the players to give them something worth spending their money on. We've got to make sure that we give them that effort that they expect and that desire that they expect. They've had some good away days over the years, and I'm sure they'll be hoping it's another one of those. That's our responsibility, but they can't do any more. They spend their hard-earned money, they've travelled once again, and we've got to start stepping up. Fans, really. The fans will be important tomorrow, I believe, making a lot of noise and giving it a kind of similar atmosphere to the Den. I don't think Bristol City, I don't think they're that loud. Maybe I don't really remember that much. I don't think they're like crazy loud. They've got crazy fans. I think Bristol Rovers are the crazy ones, aren't they? I think Bristol City are more like Reading style. Buy the kit and sit down and shut up and clap when you go in, and do pantomime booing when the opposition score. I believe, maybe I'm wrong about that, but yeah, if you can make some noise there tomorrow, if you're one of the 1,189 fans travelling for that game, that would be fantastic. Get behind the players. So, moving on to preview of the game. Now, Bristol City, it must be one of the teams that we've played the most in all of our history. It probably must be. We've played over 100 games, and there's a lot of data here. So you can see, first trip in November 1922, 1-1 draw. I had to wait until 1931 for a first win, 2-1 win, and there's a lot of red. A lot of red in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. We get to a little patch in the 60s when we're actually quite good, got a good team, where we don't lose on our trips to Bristol City until 1971. So from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games in a row, we didn't lose, but only one of them was a win. Many draws. Then we go on another winless run. Then here's probably the best stretch. 85 win, 1991 win, and 1991 again draw, and then at 1993 another win. And then we go back to losing at Ashton Gate, and then recently, until last season we lost 3-2. We were on an unbeaten run there. So, which way are we going? Are we on it seems a bit streaky. We're going streaks. What kind of streak are we on now? Was last season's loss a blip? Like the one there in 1971, which was also 3-2, by the way. Or is it is it the start of another losing streak away at Bristol City? That was the New Year's Day game. I believe that was the game where Bart basically gave them a goal by having a really shit kick. And then we scored straight after anyway, but and then that was losing the game. So could be anything. Could literally be anything. But they, like we heard earlier, they were on a winless run. They hadn't won in 5 games, I believe, and they beat Preston, who not all that. So let's go to whoscored.com, see what they say. We rearrange this to home versus away. So there you have it. Quite a few games in December, and around the Christmas period there. So these are the last 6 games at Bristol City. We've only lost 1, we've drawn 3, and we've won 2. So like I said, we're on a bit of a decent run at the moment, travelling to Bristol City. 6 goals for them, 8 goals for us. Not a lot of goals in these games. Well, the last one had 5, so 1 red card for them in 2020. Match facts: Millwall have failed to win in the last 12 away matches in the Championship. Yes. There have been over 2.5 goals scored in 6 of Bristol City's last 7 games. Leaky defence. Millwall have scored at least 2 goals in their last 3 away matches against Bristol City in all competitions, and yet you can see lost 3-2, 1-2-0, 1-2-1. So there you have it. Here are where we stand right now. You can see the form on the right hand side. They had a 5-game winless run, then they won. We've had 3 wins and a draw out of 6 games, so not too bad. They've played 1 more game than us though. They played 14, we played 13. Obviously, in the midweek, they played an extra game to catch up. We're still waiting for our game, the Sunderland game. It's going to be next month, I believe, or in December. No, it's going to be December. So yeah, both won 5 games, both lost 6 games. Them having the extra draw gives you an extra point above us. Look at this. They know where the goal is, 22 goals scored, but they can't defend, 22 goals conceded. Now us, we struggled to score, 15 goals scored, but we only conceded 17. If we go to the form table, Bazinga, 5th in the form table, with the away draw helping us out there. Otherwise, we would be on 9 points. But there you go. Only conceded 6 goals in the last 6 games. Not bad, huh? Whereas them, they are in relegation form in the last 6 games. Won 1, drawn 1, lost 4. Only scored 6 goals, conceded 11. Yeah, interesting stuff. If we go back to the overall standings and look at their home form. Oh, okay. So they get most of their points at home, it seems. Pretty much like us. So that might be a bit of a problem. In fact, it's almost identical except for they've drawn a game when instead of winning it. The goals are the same. So, and in terms of away, we know our away form shit, and there we are. Look, still waiting for an away win. Drawn 2 away games. Pretty much. So they've played 1 more away game and they won it. So that's the difference between the 2 teams. But oh my god, look at this. So not only have we not won an away game, only scored 4 away goals. So are we going to win our first away game tomorrow? Are we going to score an actual fucking goal? We're probably going to have to start scoring goals first before we can start winning games. So maybe a high scoring draw, I don't know, 2-2. That might be something to look at. I don't know. Crazy, isn't it? Absolutely crazy. Can't fucking do anything away from home. But hopefully those fans will help out tomorrow. We look now at the recent home and away games from each team. Obviously, Millwall have like I said, it's been getting better. It's been getting better. The away goals that we scored at Swansea were 2 own goals. They weren't our goals. We kind of forced them into happening, but it wasn't really our goals. So the game against Blackburn and Rotherham were actually goals scored by Millwall players. They're our first away goals of the season, and you can see we've scored 4 goals away from home, and they're all on that screen there. The 2 at Swansea, the 1 at Blackburn, and the 1 at Rotherham. And every other result was literally 2-0. Was it 2-0 to Sheffield, Norwich, Burnley? Just failed to score and conceded 2 goals. So it has been getting better. Obviously restricted Rotherham to 1 shot on target, restricted Middlesbrough, although that was a home game, to 1 shot on target. Can we do the same to Bristol City? Now, Bristol City doing quite well. They lost 2-1 to QPR. They kept clean sheets against Coventry, against Huddersfield, against Cardiff, and against Luton, despite having a player sent off. So like I said, their home form is what's propping them up. They are literally like us. Very good at home, dog shit away. So that might be another problem for us. Which way is he going to go? Is he going to go with the form, which is the home team, the good home team versus the shit away team? So you would expect the home team to carry on and get the win. Although we've been getting better, we're scoring goals now, we're restricting teams, we've changed formation. Is that going to help us tomorrow? Who knows? Can be done. QPR did it. Preston, they scored a goal. They did lose 2-1. Well, that's because they ran out of steam at the end of the game. Now, here's the team characteristics, strengths and weaknesses. Bristol City do have a lot more weaknesses than us. Defending set pieces very weak. Aha, that might be a thing that we can work on. George Savile corner, anyone? Match forecast. Millwall will score from a set piece situation extremely likely. Wow, you very rarely see extremely likely on this website. Millwall will make a comeback if they go behind. That would be nice, very likely. Bristol City will steal the ball from the opposition off. Fantastic, because we don't fucking use it anyway. So, bang, do what you want. So there you go. I think we've got enough data now to kind of have an idea which way we think the game might be going. So let's have a look at some of the predictions. Prediction from whoscored.com. What do you think they predict? There's the injuries for each team. Centre back, I told you he was the defender, Robert Atkinson was the unlikely hero for Bristol City on Wednesday night as they claimed a late win against Preston thanks to his brace. Nigel Pearson desperately needed that result following a return of just 1 point from his side's last 5 league outing. Millwall had summer signing Zion Fleming to thank last weekend as his well-taken brace earned the Lions a comfortable 3 points against managerless Middlesbrough. The South London club are, however, yet to claim a win on the road this season, and they predict Bristol City 2, Millwall 1. Okay, now David Bratton from SkySports.com, what do you think he says? So David Bratton predicts Bristol City 0, Millwall 2. Interesting stuff. So I have to choose between a team that's shit, that's really good at home, and a team that's poor away. We are getting better. The formation has changed. We're starting to see green shoots of recovery. Will we start to see fruit? Will we see the first away win in many a time in 12 away games? Will we see the first 13? 13 is a number. It's another unlucky number. It's got cosmic number. It's wishful thinking. I'm sure Billy Mitchell will love that. 13. A special number. Some floors in hotels don't have 13th floor. It's unlucky. So, can we win this game? I think we probably can. Could it be a draw? Probably. Can we keep a clean sheet? Hopefully, but I don't think so. So, I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go Bristol City 1, Millwall 2. But I could easily see it being either 1-1 or 2-2 as well. But I'm gonna go Bristol City 1, Millwall 2. And there you go. And on that note, thank you for watching.